Hello, I've been finding a lot of stitch markers around the house lately, which is concerning because I have a toddler who also wanders around the house. But maybe it's a lucky side, maybe it's like the knitter's equivalent of finding a lucky penny or something, so that might be good. Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Jennifer. I'm a knitter based in Melbourne, and today I wanted to talk about the perfect amount of whips. At the end of the video I have a really cute formula about how to calculate the perfect amount of whips for you. For any non-knitters or crafters, whips stands for works in progress, WIPs, and it's different for everyone. Everyone has a different amount of projects going on at any one time, and I know it fluctuates for me depending on how busy the season of life I'm in, depending how bored I am with my current projects. It changes, but yeah, I wanted to talk about just dive a little bit deeper into the right amount of whips for you at this stage in your life, and a few things to think about when you're trying to figure out if you want to cast on another project or not, or if you want to pare them down or anything like that. So yeah, I will be talking while I crochet on this door draft cover, you know, those little things that you put at the bottom of your door to stop the wind coming in, that thing, snake something. I don't know what it's called. But yes, I'm using a free pattern, and I am using scrap yarn to do it in this like really fun mild colorway, because there are all different colors in it. But yeah, let's get started with the video. Okay, so my first point is it has to be more than one project. For me, I need at least two. We're talking about multiple whips, okay? We're not talking about those people who only have one project on at a time. They start a project, they finish it, they block it, they seam it up, they finish it off, and then they go out and they buy yarn for the next project. We're not talking about those people. I don't know who those people are. Are you a unicorn? Do you exist? I know you exist, but you're amazing. I look up to you, and I don't know how you do it. I think it's incredible. We're talking about people, the normal, mere mortals, like probably you and me, who love to have multiple projects going on at the same time. So most people, I would assume, have more than one project going on. I like to have at least two, so a larger one that I can work on at home and a smaller one that's more portable that I can bring around to whatever I'm doing and just have in my handbag so that I can add a few stitches wherever I am. I went to the movies the other day and I figured out I can do 2x2 ribbing in the movies, so that was pretty cool. It was not that light, but I could sort of just feel my way and judge it, and it wasn't a particularly dark movie. It was Peppa Pig. So the cinema wasn't that dark, but yeah, that was fun. Anyway, you need to have at least one project on the needles or on the hook to consider yourself a knitter. No, I'm just joking. If you love fiber, if you love making things, if you like being cozy, and you don't have a project currently on the needles, I would consider you just a pre-knitter. We're just in the pre-stage, the planning stage. Especially if you're here watching this video, unless you're my friend. Thank you for watching, if you're my friend. I mean, you're all my friends, but yes, I'm rambling. Okay, moving on. Keep in mind the life season you're in at the moment. So, are you getting enough sleep at night? Are you working more than 40 hours a week? Do you have 2, 3, 1 newborn? One newborn is hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kids plus? What season of life are you in at the moment? How old are your kids? Did you just start a new job? Are you studying as well? Do you have multiple commitments? Are there many people who are relying on you right now? All of these things have a factor on our time, on our energy. And I find that the more works in progress that I have, the more space it tends to take up in my mind. And sometimes that's too much for me in my season of life. So it's nice to sort of pare down my works in progress, maybe frog some projects to just make life a little bit simpler. And then when I'm ready, those projects that I want to make, they'll all be on my want to make list. They'll all be saved in my Ravelry queue. They'll all be sitting there waiting for me to have time to pick them up and dedicate energy to them. And that's okay, because our life goes through ebbs and flows, and sometimes we're busy and sometimes we're not so busy, and it makes sense that we match the amount of works in progress that we have to the season of life that we're in. You might also consider the type of projects that you cast on. I know that when I had 2 very little kids, and still to this day, I cannot for the life of me figure out complex color work charts. I tried to, and I would make mistakes over and over again. So the types of projects I'm looking for now are basically mindless, pretty simple, very relaxing sort of projects. And I need to make sure that the projects give to me as much or more than I can give to them. And that's sort of just the investment that I'm willing to put in at this point in time. There are different types of projects that I'm working on at the moment, but there are also some projects that I know that will not be touched for the next couple of months, and that's okay. Sometimes we just have to write a list and prioritize what we can achieve right now. And keeping in mind, it's not a race. We're just doing this for personal satisfaction. So there's no pressure to be the fastest or complete the most projects in any given amount of time, even though social media might tell us otherwise. It's all fun, and it's all self-care. The next thing that you might want to keep in mind is stash status. So the most confusing and confounding question in this video so far may be, why is it so much easier to buy yarn than it is to actually knit and crochet and use it up? It's so much easier to just add to cart or go shopping and buy a bunch of yarn, but then what are you left with? You're left with bags and bags of yarn in every single room of the house, and just random balls stashed in random bags. At least for me anyway, I'll just find balls of yarn just stashed into drawers and cupboards, and I'm very happy that my family still agreed to live with me and my yarn, because it is becoming a sizable collection. So yes, consider your stash before you cast on a project. Is it a project that you already have yarn for? Is it a project that you can shop your stash for? Is it something that you'll have to buy multiple balls? Are you on a destash at the moment? I have a list of yarn kind of in my head, and I also have a list of projects that I want to do. And the way I try to do it is I try to prioritize the projects and the patterns that I have yarn already for. And I also try to throw in a few destash projects like this draft cover, and I also like to gift knit. And I feel like gift knitting is twofold. You get to knit something for someone, and also, you know, all the benefits that go with that. You get to pray and think about them while you make it for them. You get to use up yarn that you already have in your stash, so really it's a free gift, girl maths. And you also get to give away the gift, meaning the yarn leaves your house and leaves space inevitably for more yarn. But still, you know, the action, the giving, the intention, the good intentions, they're all there. So yes, consider your stash when you consider the amount of works in progress that you have. An idea for also limiting the amount of works in progress that you have in regards to your stash is also your needle and crochet hook stash. Probably not so much crochet hook, because you can sort of just take the crochet hook out of any old project and it's fine. You only have that one live stitch. But to limit knitting projects, you can also consider if you need to go out and buy multiple needles of the same size, if you really need to cast on that project or not. Because limiting yourself to the amount of needles and needle sizes that you currently have in your stash could be a good way to save money on buying new needles, save space on getting more needles, and save your sanity because you don't have 100,000 whips going on at the same time. But yeah, that might be another thing that you might want to consider when you think about work in progress. Flexibility and momentum. So this is probably the one that I am most concerned about when I think about the amount of whips that I have. Obviously, the more amount of projects that you have on the go, the less inclined you will be to be inspired and cast on a new project straight away, because there's so much information coming at us these days, and because we get to see so many lovely things that other makers make, it's so easy to be inspired and to want to cast on something new. But if you already have too many projects ongoing already, it might be hard to figure out how to incorporate that as another project on your ever-growing list of projects. And the thing is, when you have too many, you only have a limited time to work with them on. I would assume that most people are working, have other commitments, are caretakers as well. And so when you have only a limited amount of time to dedicate to each project, if you cut too many slices out of the one cake, you're not going to get a very big slice, right? You're not going to make much progress on each individual project if you spread yourself too thin. So having less whips means that you have more momentum and can get things done a little bit faster, which can be very motivating to make progress on projects. It also means that when you really fall in love with the project, you have more capacity to be able to start it sooner rather than later. And overall, it's just a little bit less overwhelming when you have less projects on the go. There's also that guilt factor that you might be familiar with when you want to cast on a new project, but all of your projects of seasons past sort of look at you and are like, excuse me, we are waiting to be completed. Why are you going out with a new project? So yes, it can reduce a bit of that guilt factor if you have less works in progress going on at any one time, because we all know it is more exciting to cast on a project than to finish one that we have already started, which is weird because we're so excited at the beginning, but I guess it's just human nature that novelty of a new project kind of fizzles out as time goes on. Okay, so the last point is creative fire, and I guess this has been a big thing for me recently because I have the creative fire to create these videos and cast on more projects and even finish my projects that I've started months and months and months ago. I'm a big fan of going where the inspiration sort of leads me. I've been doing my morning pages every morning, writing out 3 pages, small pages, because you know, baby steps, just in my small notebook, just, you know, mind dumping everything, and I feel like it just gives me so many ideas and like just unearths what my mind and my subconscious are thinking, and it just like spells it out for me on the page while I write it out. So that's been really cool. But yeah, sometimes you have that creative energy and it's like really burning and really bright and you want to cast on all the things, and sometimes I like to go with that. Sometimes it's nice to feel in touch with your creative side and honor it and cast on all the things. And I know there will be consequences for it later, like I've outlined in this video, but you know what, sometimes you just have to go with the flow and do what you feels right and feels good in the moment, and that's fine too. Sometimes there are going to be moments where I just want to work on one project. Even though I have so many going on at the same time, I just want to work on that one thing that's bringing me joy at the moment. Where we can get stuck is if we cast on too many projects. We can get stuck in the problem of stopping them when it gets a little bit too hard, or there's a new technique to learn, or there's just something that you don't want to do. Maybe put the sleeves on a new needle, or I don't know, separate for the sleeves on a sweater, or make a certain body part of a doll. But I reckon to counteract on those sorts of feelings, it would be good to do something like the Crazy Sock Lady's 30 minutes of knitting, where you just dedicate a certain amount of time each day on one project just to push through even the hard bits and make sure that you keep up some momentum and pace to keep you feeling inspired on a certain project. Sometimes you just have to push through. Sometimes you just have to look up that YouTube tutorial, or get out the other size of needles, or you know, do some shuffling around of your supplies to make the project keep going. But yeah, there really is no right answer. I'm sure, let me know what your ideal number of whips is, or how many you're working on at the moment, how many you want to be working on. I'm sure at some point we've all wanted to be a monogamous knitter, but then we got too bored, so we cast on something new. And maybe you do it for work, and you have work knitting and you have your personal knitting. Yeah, let me know what you're working on. And I would also, before I go, like to share the formula that I made up for the perfect amount of whips. So the perfect amount of whips equals your current amount of works in progress plus one, because we all like to cast on another one, right? That's just a little bit of fun. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I actually got a little bit done on this snake. So yeah, thanks so much for spending the time with me today. Everyone's home, so that's my cue to say goodbye, and I'll see you in the next video.